Hey guys, welcome back to the Dynamic Body Project. Today I'd like to discuss a common misconception with athletes, with doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, personal trainers, and it is the myth that we don't seem to get injured, because that's just not true. So today I want to talk about an injury that I just sustained on Wednesday of this week. Now, I didn't have a specific mechanism of injury. I noticed as I was rehabbing at the end of my workout that my forearm and my elbow were kind of tender. I'm experiencing a little bit of altered sensation, meaning it just doesn't quite feel as sensitive. It's a little numb, if you will. I feel a little weak, a little sluggish. I don't feel as powerful in my grip in this part of my forearm and hand. So what I want to do is go through a rehab protocol that I do for my elbow to help stay in the game. Now, let's go ahead and get started with the elbow rehab. The first exercise I want us to do is a dynamic mobility exercise for the elbow. This is for you beginners out there. This is not a very aggressive or a very difficult exercise. We're going to stand with our palms facing the mirror behind us, and I'm going to just bend my elbows and rotate my hands to face the mirrors again. As I put them down, I re-rotate. So this is our mechanism. Full extension of the elbow, full flexion of the elbow. That is 4 reps. We're going to perform 20 repetitions. Our thumbs are up in the air. All we're going to do is turn our thumbs all the way up, turn our thumbs all the way down. We're going to work wrist flexion and wrist extension. So now I want to work 2 static stretches for the forearm. This first exercise is called the carpal tunnel therapeutic stretch. We're going to hold it for 60 seconds. It's really good at targeting the tissues of the hand and the forearm flexors. Whenever we do this exercise, we're going to place our hand flat on the table. We want a firm surface. We don't want to have a couch or a bed, something that's spongy that doesn't give us firm resistance, because we want to block and lock this into position. I'm going to fully extend my elbow. Most commonly, we get people to stretch like this. So we're breaking the hinge in the elbow and we're not tightening and creating tension through these tissues here. Fully extend that elbow all the way over. So I'm creating a big extension through this wrist. As we create that, go to your tension where you feel comfortable. And we're just going to hold that for 60 seconds. It is okay to have small movements. We can lean a little to the right. We can lean a little to the left. You're hunting the restrictions throughout the carpal region here of your wrist, but also reaching into these tissues of the flexors and finding where you find that tightness. Whenever we perform the wrist extensor therapeutic stretch, we want to make sure that we keep the actual wrist on the firm surface, on the table. So we're going to fully extend the elbow. We're going to drive the wrist down to the table. Now, right now I have a right angle in my hand. Hand stays flat. We start leaning back, keeping that elbow straight, creating tension through the wrist and the forearm flexors. If your wrist starts to come off the table, back off tension slightly. I have a slight pressure, but I'm not putting a ton of weight onto my wrist. I'm just being firm. Make sure you lean back into the stretch. Now, again, just like with the carpal tunnel stretch, we can start leaning to the right, leaning to the left. Find your sticky tissues. Oh, that's a really good spot. Hang out for 60 seconds. The next 2 exercises are going to look very similar, but you're going to see the difference with the mobility added into the position. So, for the first one, we're going to do carpal tunnel dynamic mobility. We're going to set up exactly the same way. Hand is flat, completely on the table. Elbows fully extended. We create wrist extension to tolerance. Once we reach tolerance now, we're going to twist our elbow out, and we're going to twist our elbow in and out and in. We're going to perform 2 sets of 10 for our beginners, and we're going to do 20 repetitions for our intermediate to advanced athletes. The same rules apply for hunting corners. Lean into it, find those tight tissues, twist out and in. Common things you could feel. Tugging of the nerve will be number 1. Numbness, tingling, kind of a sharp shooting pain. If you're getting any of those things, back off just a little bit. Don't stop the exercise, but back off your tension so you can effectively traction the nerve without damaging or creating an injury. And you certainly don't want to feel a lot of pain. The next exercise is the wrist extensor dynamic mobility. We take our hand, we want the wrist to be flat on a firm surface. Fully extend the elbow. Block with your opposite hand so it stays in place. Lean back and create your tension. Now, we just open and close our elbow. Now we're going to work our soft tissue treatment of ourselves. This is a way that we can create tissue change effectively whenever we have an injury in our own time. Now, this is going to be known as the pain ball. There's many different examples of this. This is a tennis ball. Lacrosse balls are fantastic. They make knobby balls, spiky balls. They have all sorts of different types of tools that you can use. I'm going to do a few different types of drills here. The first one is just a rolling drill where we roll these tissues. I will do 4 to 6 inch passes, so I'll do half the forearm and do a few passes, and then I'll go the rest of the forearm and do the rest of the passes. You'll also see me move my arm around. I'm just hunting different muscles, different tissues. Where I feel that tenderness or that restriction, that's where we're wanting to hit. So we start by the wrist. I apply a little pressure on top, and I just roll. Now I'm going to move the ball to halfway and work the rest of the way to the elbow. Now we're starting to get into those tender tissues, those real sensitive tissues. Remember, we also have the ulnar nerve coming through here. This is your cubital tunnel, our funny bone. So as we roll closer to that, you might start experiencing cold, achy pain, pins and needles, shooting sensations. If you are, back off your pressure going down into the ball a little bit. Now we're going to perform cross-section tissue work. So instead of going with the fibers, we're going to cross the tissues. We want to make sure that we take the slack out of our skin, because if not, we're just kind of moving skin back and forth. So grab the tissue, pull the skin and a little bit of the muscle out of the way, and now we're rolling side to side. It's not a big movement, it's not a ton of pressure, still a tender area. Do a few passes, move on to the next tissue. Okay guys, that's going to be it for my wrist and elbow rehabilitation for today. We did static stretching, we did dynamic mobility, and we used the pain ball to get some good tissue work done. If you guys have any questions, make sure you leave them at the bottom of the page. I'll be sure to get back to you. And until next time, rehab well, rehab smart. See you then.